My passion is with nonprofits, especially faith-based nonprofits. So from the very beginning, I started working with anti-human trafficking organizations, and I traveled many different countries doing that work. So when Ben came on, I told him, I said, I want to build this thing to the moon so that we can provide services to nonprofits at little to no cost. Because every nonprofit needs to be run like a business. They need content.
Welcome back to the Lead Lamp Podcast. This week we have Nate Neary and Ben Guiles from Nieri Creative, and welcome to the show. So we got a little bit of a history from you guys, and I know we challenged you, or you challenged us. I don't know how that worked. You have to fill us in on a ping pong match.
Oh yeah.
But thanks for coming on the show. We were looking forward to learning a little bit about you.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. Great.
So we'll get into Nieri Creative, but just kind of give us a little bit of brief background on you two guys and how you got, into the area here.
Sure. Yeah. I'll start with me. I'm originally from Michigan, grew up there, went to Florida for college, decided to get married after college, got married, stayed a little bit in Florida. But after I graduated with a degree in biology. So nothing to what I'm doing now.
That's how most of us are.
Yeah, that's how most of us are. Then I spent 6 years in clinical research. So what brought me to Pennsylvania is my wife actually got cancer when she was 23. I was working in clinical research, looked for a job up here in Pennsylvania this way, got a job offer at a cancer institute in Hershey, i.e. Penn State. So I took that as a sign. Yeah. My wife's going through cancer. I got a job offer at the Cancer Institute. We're moving to Pennsylvania. So that's what brought us here. That was 2015. So fast forward to 2018, I got my real estate license.
Okay.
And began a small career in real estate. Decided that it was really hard to make a living and I needed money now and not in a month or two.
Yeah.
Because deals take a while to close. Take longer than that, I started Nieri Creative.
Nice.
That was almost 6 years ago. So it's a little bit about me.
Yeah. So I was born in Columbia, Pennsylvania. It's about 45 minutes south of Harrisburg, 30 minutes. I went to Lebanon Valley College and I studied business administration. Shortly after that, I joined a rock and roll band, and I was in the music industry for 12 years, touring the country. And I learned so much more about business and the way that you should run things from that experience than I ever did in college.
Probably learned a lot of good and a lot of
good, a lot of bad. Nothing bad about college, but like being out in the real world and, failing a few times and succeeding a few times as well, you learn a lot. So fast forward, did that for 12 years. And I'm still currently doing that, but I am stepping away. When I decided to step away, because I'm a 34-year-old man with wife and kids, lifestyle choices, I felt called to do other things. When I was in the band, I did a lot of video production and editing because it's a need for marketing when you're in the music industry. When I stepped away from the band, I called Nate because we had rubbed elbows because of the real estate industry. And I just said, hey, man, I'm stepping away from the band. If you need me, I'm available. I'd love to work with you on some projects. And he was pretty much like, hey, can you come to the studio today?
It was out of the blue. I mean, I was looking for someone. I did not call him at all, but I know his wife because of real estate. So I don't know if you mentioned his wife is the CEO of Keller Williams of Central PA. So it's just this bubble of the real estate industry. So
but it's like he called you out of the blue. And
I met him a couple times. I knew he did video work, but I didn't think, maybe Ben would be a good fit. I had no idea he was stepping away from the band either.
Yeah, no one did. I didn't tell anybody except for like my wife and Nate when I called him. And he was like, come to the studio. I went and checked it out. And like when I walked in the door and seeing everything that he's done in the real estate photography thing and then building the studio, I just walked in and I was just like, this is where I need to be. Like, this is what I feel called to do. It's what's going to have my head pop off the pillow in the morning.
Yeah.
And we just talked, and long story short, within a week I had a desk and we've been working together ever since.
Nice. Yeah. That was March, I think. He came into the studio. I opened the studio in January. Before that, Nieri Creative was just strictly real estate media.
Okay.
With a small video production side. But then I started a podcasting service late last year, and it really took off. I was actually using Keller Williams training room because they have this big open training room to shoot the podcasts. So I would haul everything over there, set it all up, break it all down. It's a long process. Yeah. So I eventually just said, we need a space and we just need to go full force. And so I took the gamble, opened the space in January. He came in March, and we've been growing ever since.
Well, and when you have a space like that, so our origins, we were like in an apartment. We were in we broke out of the dental group. But you're like jammed in these little offices, and you're over here, and you get moved around. And once we finally had a space, and like, we're all creative minded, I felt like that added a lot more confidence and creativity, and just, it opens up a whole new part of your brain, because now it's just like, this is your spot.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know, it just feels a lot better. And you probably felt the same way.
If you're a small business owner and don't have a space, like I was working at Panera,
no matter what you're doing,
90% of the time. Yeah. And it wasn't consistent. Yeah. Now I wake up every day and I treat it like a job. Like it's an actual serious thing, right? Yeah. I have a place to go. I get there. It's great. It's been great for the business.
Feel like home away from home.
Right.
You don't want to treat work like
people
home,
view you differently.
Yeah.
People view you more professionally.
Well, you're hanging your shingle outside, like the old adage, like you're putting your sign out front, like this is my spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, people start to take you more seriously, and then you start to take yourself more seriously, and everything that you've worked on. You got skin in the game. Yeah. Once you got a space, you have an extra bill to pay in most cases. So like, yeah.
Yeah.
I know Ben glosses over his rock and roll days, but they're pretty well known.
Well, I was going to ask,
we'll go out.
I didn't want to bring it up, but I do want to ask, you said you kind of got into video through the need of, the band needing video work done. Was that kind of your kickoff into editing and shooting video and getting that? So that was like your first, were you doing that prior and you're like, I can do that now that I'm here. I got the skill with it, or was that kind of where you had a baptism by fire with the band?
Baptism by fire.
Okay.
We were growing. We had a couple of viral videos that kind of put us on the map. And then we got to a point where we needed to start consistently putting out music videos, creating social media content. And in order to hire somebody else to do that, it was a lot of money for us at the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'll go to YouTube college. And that's literally where I learned everything about cameras, everything about Premiere Pro, and how to edit and be creative and be intentional with your shooting. So I was baptized by fire.
Sometimes it's the best way to learn. Anything.
100%.
With the aid of YouTube. Yeah. Like if it wasn't for YouTube, I don't know if I would have been able to do it. But I was able to take over all of the video production for the band. Obviously, when I was in the videos, we would hire a camera person.
Right.
But I would do all the post. And it worked. It worked really well. We were able to accumulate, I think we're close to 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. We have almost 1 million followers on TikTok. We had a couple of viral videos. We were having fun being creative and writing guitar riffs off of household products that have numbers on the barcodes.
I saw that, actually. I was doing a little bit of research on you guys. I got the one that stuck out, obviously, because we have origins in dentistry, was the toothpaste one, the Colgate.
Yeah, we did Colgate.
One of the two. I think it was Colgate. Popped up. And the barcodes off the UPC. I was like, that's actually pretty creative. So you're just
yeah. Thank you.
I thought that was pretty cool.
It's all because of Ben. Yeah, you grew that thing.
I was thinking in my head, like, man, that would have been awesome for us to do, is for our dental clients, like. Yeah, that'd have been a genius thing to use. But anyways, you already took that.
There's a ton of value in just being creative. Like a lot of times the camera work and the video editing helps, but like you have to have a solid idea at its
and
base.
Consistent. So it's not just so I have my own little small thing on the side, just a hobby, but same with us. Like my dad and I have it. And if you go a month without doing something, like
people already forgot.
They forget your numbers, they plummet. And even the people who are dedicated or like that truly follow you are like, hey, what's up? Like, where you been?
Where's my daily dose?
Yeah. So whether it's your brand or your business or something you're doing on the side, like it has to be, you got to be there.
Consistency.
So, yeah. And once you start getting a roll, you guys probably feel the same way. Like once you're on a roll with it, it gets there's tough times too, but it gets easier to just be like a pattern.
Yeah. It's just like anything else. You develop like almost muscle memory to it.
Yeah,
like you start to get good at creating a certain style of content within your niche, and then everything after that just becomes easier as you go. because you've just been there so many times.
Yeah. So let's walk into then. So we'll go back into the other story. So you called him, you set up, you got a desk now. Let's kind of walk through how that's now transformed from that moment till, kind of where you're at today. Because I know you guys, I saw online you do real estate, video, photography, and you have studio space that you allow other people to come in and run their podcast. And you also do...
we're building a social media management wing right
Okay.
now. So that's another
That's a
part.
new thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a brand new thing. But so coming back to kind of like why I built the business, my passion is with nonprofits, especially faith-based nonprofits. So from the very beginning, I started working with anti-human trafficking organizations, and I traveled many different countries doing that work. So when Ben came on, I told him, I said, I want to build this thing to the moon so that we can provide services to nonprofits at little to no cost. Because every nonprofit needs to be run like a business. They need content,
Yeah, they need awareness.
So that's another wing of our business. We probably work with about 6 nonprofits right now.
At no cost.
Fairly regularly. Little to no cost.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's a huge advantage.
We're trying to get that number down and down. So
Yeah.
But so I would say that's kind of the main goal is like, I would like to step away from all the day to day so that I could just do nonprofit work.
Okay. And have that support the nonprofit.
Yeah. The
work.
Nieri Creative will support all our nonprofit.
Nice. I did see on your site, the goal would be to provide those services to nonprofits at no cost. So that's the end game is a zero sum for them.
Right.
Yeah.
But even still, like the benefit it is now, even if it's a reduced cost, is still huge from them having to go to someone who would charge them full price essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that would be their only other option if someone's not willing to do that.
Yep.
So, and it probably offers you guys a little bit more excitement and a little bit more meaning. Every time you're doing something new, you're like, okay, well, we know why we're doing this.
Yeah.
I truly believe like as business succeeds and you're profitable and you're blessed in that arena, I think you move that and bless others.
Yeah.
And I think business owners should be in that mindset.
When it goes back to the, like, once you've been given what you need, there is a point at which it's time to, give back to the next
others,
pass it on to the next people. Cause you also don't know when that's going to come back around. So it's kind of like the karma thing, if you believe in karma or not, but it's kind of like a cyclical thing. Like, okay, well, we got what we need. So let's do good on others now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that everybody's true happiness always ends up being found in service. So, obviously, people need money. They need to be able to pay for things. So growing a business will make you money, but that's not where your happiness is going to come from. It's being able to have enough money to reallocate your time and energy towards service. And then once you have that money coming in and the why behind it, then you're just like this ultimate productivity machine where like everything matters because you have your why in place, things are working. It's just this kind of synergy that takes place, growing everything and giving back at the same time, and just, going to bed every day, happy with what you did that day.
Now you mentioned one, you have a couple of the nonprofits listed on your site that you guys work with. Do you just kind of want to run through them real quick? Just explain the few that you support now.
Yeah. So Greenlight Operation, we actually give monthly to. We work with them. They are anti-human trafficking organization. They work primarily locally, but they are in the process of opening what they call a restoration home.
Okay.
Here locally, that victims from human trafficking will come there, be restored. There's actually like a program and everything in place. They don't just come there and live. They actually get
it's not just
job
a
training,
house.
right?
Yeah.
They get counseling, all that kind of stuff, which is amazing. And then we work with Radiant Hope. Radiant Hope works with cancer patients.
Okay.
So they're a blessing to them. They put these care packages together, and then they send those out all over the place. And then another nonprofit we're actually in the process of making a video now for them is ABB, Accounting Beyond Borders. So they come alongside other nonprofits and do their accounting work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's just a handful of the.
I wouldn't even think of that as a need, but that's why that's a need. Like, I'm sure there's a ton of nonprofits that start up with these great ideas, and then like the back end is just
It's a lot.
it becomes a messy problem quick, and then they come in to help other nonprofits keep their books in order.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And one more, we're actually participating in from scratch to conception to everything is Phoenix Foundation. They're not launched yet, but it's for victims of domestic violence. So we're creating all their branding, making their content, doing their website, all of those things. So that's one that we're just kind of working through from infancy.
Gotcha.
So that one's a really cool project as well.
Okay. Awesome. And that's great that everything you're doing on the front end, as far as your services that you offer, support all those other missions. That's all. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into kind of like the dynamics here of Nieri Creative and kind of walk through, what you offer. You kind of briefly, you summarize what you offer, but you do have a space. You have a studio now people can use. You were giving us some ideas on a mobile studio cart, which would be awesome, by the way. But let's just kind of walk through, what your dynamics are as far as you're working together and, processing everything you have.
So I would say we're managers in the business. Both of us. We're kind of equal. We don't really have defined roles, but so our business is really split up of the real estate side, and that's our bread and butter. That's what we started with. It's a machine that is just running on its own basically right now. We have a team of 2 photographers and then us. And then we have virtual assistants and everything overseas that help us do the delivery and editing. So that's one wing of the business. Another wing or pillar, we like to call it, is our video production. We've done video production, we've done commercials, ads. You could throw our nonprofit stuff in there. We, producing videos. So that's another thing we do. And then the other thing we're building right now is the social media side. Okay. Because all we're hearing is when we're working with clients, okay, we're doing your pre-production, your production, your post-production. The only thing that's left is your distribution, your delivery, right? And so what are you thinking about? What are you doing at? Oh, I don't know. When you talk to clients,
they want the video and then
they have no idea.
It gets shelved.
And you hate making videos and they just get, put on a shelf. They never think about it again. And so it does nothing. And so they don't see any results. So everyone needs that social media part because you guys probably see this too, but a lot of brands are quick to and good at setting them up. And then there's like this, they just get stagnant and they just sit there, and it's kind of like these dead brands online. They might not be as far as business, but their social media presence, even big brands, there's one that they just saw like radio silent on some of these channels. Yeah. So many people want it like done for you, flip a switch, and I don't even want to, I want to forget about it. Yeah. There's so many clients like that. And so we said, why not build that wing of the business? That's the missing piece. So we're in the process of doing that.
Yeah. And when you look at social media like this, it kind of makes sense why people shelf things because they don't get to give up another part of their business and replace it with social media. Social media marketing and being top of mind and staying consistent is just in addition to everything else that they have. So the thought of like adding a whole nother marketing wing to your business for something completely different is like overwhelming to some clients. So they're just like, I don't even want to mess with that. The learning curve is too steep. I don't have the time and effort. I allocated everything to the way my business has been run for years. This is new and I don't like it.
Well, and sometimes there's a couple scenarios, you guys have probably seen it too, where it's a smaller business. They might only have a handful, half a dozen employees or less, and they don't have the resources for it to run it appropriately. They might post occasionally, but not to actually like run a social media campaign and to be consistent and following up and interacting with their fans or their followers. But then the other part of it is there's a lot of kind of what you had said too. There's a lot of legacy older businesses in the area that it doesn't make sense to them. And it's like this weird, they've bolted on this weird part of it. They know they need social media or they know they need any kind of digital media, but they don't really know how to integrate it with their business. So it just kind of gets slapped on the side and it feels...
That's a good analogy.
It feels awkward.
Just bolted on.
Yeah. It's just like it doesn't fit that because they didn't know how to properly integrate it or they didn't have someone helping them to like do it the right way. So when you look at some of those brands and we all find ones like that, they're just like, they have it, but they've missed a mark on it. So sometimes it just takes people like us to kind of, talk with them, learn about their brand and then execute it correctly online.
Yeah.
You probably preach this too to your clients. Like one reason I started the podcast service, which I forgot to mention, it's an easy way to sit down and get a bulk content, right? It's cost effective. It's not going to cost you a big production.
Yeah.
And you sit down and you cut it into shorts. We use Opus.
You have to ask them when they cut it.
Like it is just such a easy way to come in, get your stuff made, get your content made for the month. And so we tell our clients, hey, if you want to start doing consistent posting, just start a podcast. Doesn't have to be anything special.
Yeah.
It could be just you talking to the camera. It could be you and guests, or it could just be you and a co-host. Like there's many ways you can do it. And we try to get them over that intimidation factor. That's so intimidated.
That's the main hump. Like once you get them over the first, usually it's like with we have one of our clients, it's like that first 1 or 2 they recorded, and then they realize like, oh,
this is easy. Yeah.
And especially because you're probably doing similar to what we are. Like they come in, they sit down, they have their set, this we tear down, we set it up for somebody else a different way. And they just come in, they record, they leave, and then we deliver them their stuff to share. They have a social media person, but once they've gotten through that, they're like, oh, we like this now. Like this is fun. It becomes fun for them because now they're coming up with other topics.
Right.
And it's cool to see them get into their own podcast then, because now they're out of their head and they're out of that thought process of like this daunting task of doing it. And now they're like, I can't wait to get so-and-so on, or I can't wait to talk about this.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see that transformation.
Yeah. Now they have content to post. You have bulk content so you can post regularly. Just schedule those things out and get them on. You do have to be top of mind.
Yeah.
And
the other thing that's cool, and I don't know, maybe you guys haven't seen this. We haven't done this yet. I would love to do this. If anyone wants to do one, is like mini series podcasts. So have you guys done anywhere like a business might not be suited well for a long recurring, and no end in sight kind of recurring podcast, whereas they know, okay, I want to cover these 8 things and I want to do a mini series on these 8 things for like a subtopic. We've had a couple of people talk to us about that, but for businesses, it's a great idea to do that because you might be a tax lawyer or something and you want to do a series on like prepping for whatever you're opening a business. You could have a business and have a podcast for your business that you're not stuck in this perpetual motion device where you have to keep coming up with content, and you could do, mini series with tips for your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a couple of clients that come in every month, every other month, and they film like exactly that mini series is where it's like a 5-minute, 10-minute video of a conversation or training tips. And they do it. It's kind of like batch recording. Yeah. They come in and they film for an hour or so, but they're getting 15 videos out of it. We did that for a couple clients. We just had one in, I think it was yesterday. They filmed 11 videos in one go. And we just stop the camera, let them do their teaching tips, kind of coach them on how to best do it. And then they give us all the footage and they're like, here, we're done. We set our script, like make this an awesome video. And we're like, got you.
Yeah. That's like the easiest thing too, because they're coming in with their set list or their, order of video they want to do. So you guys are just behind the scenes, start, stop, ready to go. Now, is your podcast studio, I'm just curious, is it full service? Like they can come in, they set it up, and then they record, and then you guys get the footage when it's done? Or do you have people behind the scenes, running the cameras?
Yeah, either one of us will be running the equipment. I don't know if I would put the equipment in their hands.
Yeah. I was thinking it'd be cool. It's not possible with what we have either, but it'd be cool if you could have, there's got to be a way to do it, but I don't know how to. If you had it almost like the photo booth setup, not a photo booth though, but where people could literally come in and start and stop on their own, and then it just delivers the footage to like a hard drive somewhere for you.
We actually Ben had a great idea at Keller Williams, where his wife works. They dedicated a room for a content studio. And we sponsored it. We built it out, bought the gear, and it's actually pretty easy. You just go in there, you plop your phone in, you connect your phone to the mic, turn it on, and then you can sit there and just talk to the camera.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's like a plug and play system that we don't have anything to do with after we built it. obviously if they wanted us to edit the footage, they could just send it to us.
Right.
But we sponsored the room and we designed it so it's like a dummy can go in there and do it. They just plug their phone in, film their content.
If they know how to use the phone, they know how to use your studio.
Right. Everything just works without them having to really know, because we hooked everything up the proper way. Plug your phone in, hit record, and you're good.
Nice.
And, we decorated the room something along the lines of this, but branded it to Keller Williams.
Right.
And that's a perfect example.
Yeah, we want to do that at other brokerages. So if you're at a brokerage and want a content room, we'll sponsor it for you. So
it's a great idea.
Connect with us.
You just put their logo on or however they want. You talk with their team to make it fit their brand.
Yeah.
Because agents need a space to go to. Like a lot of brokerages just, they don't have that. Like there's no to go.
And we work with a couple of different parts of the real estate industry. And oftentimes they're like out in the field. They're trying to do stuff on like a selfie cam or like a handheld in a house. And it's just, you can tell. I mean, some of them do a great job. They do awesome with their social media, but it would be great if they had a place where they could come back and do something that was a little bit more polished.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the biggest need was when you're in an office with so many people, there's so many noises, there's so many interruptions. Even when your door's closed, somebody's knocking, somebody's walking in. They didn't have any privacy. So they wanted to be able to bulk record, like, these are my 7 videos that I got to get done this week, Monday at 8 a.m. That's when I'm doing it. So that was the need that we fulfilled by giving them a content room that they can book, go in and, red light comes on, nobody bothers them. That's their time, their space, and they get to knock it all out without having to worry about door knocks and
that's awesome.
All that stuff.
Now, I have a question, and I don't want to dive too deep into this, but I think this is cool. Sure. Was there an adoption phase where only like a few people were using it in the beginning, and then now there's like more? Would you know that? I mean, you might not know.
I think people are using it pretty consistently at this point. And the reason, so we had like a grand opening when we built the little studio space. They had a training, which Nate and I attended. They had a big training for social media. And then when the training was done, everybody funneled into the content room.
Gotcha.
Where we showed them start to finish how to turn the lights on, how to set everything up, which is super simple, like 2 or 3 steps, and you're recording. So we got a lot of people in the door then, and everybody was pretty excited about having it. And I think the main feedback was we're not going to get interrupted here.
Right.
Because a lot of people, it's easy for some people to just whip out their phone and make great content.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, on the other hand, it's like, I need to be prepared.
Yeah, I got to make a list. I got to talk myself through it 10 times.
We're trying to break down barriers. Like that's just one more barrier that we tried to solve, like a place to go and film. So you have a place, just get there and film yourself. The next barrier is posting it. Right. So I don't know, just overcome those barriers.
There's always like the next hurdle though. So I mean, that's a big one to get over. Yeah. So as far as, our history, our background, like with the Verber Dental Group, there's 200 and whatever plus employees at whatever point. I forget when we started the marketing team itself, we had just crossed 200. And like that, and you guys could probably relate to this. You have about a dozen people who are like your rock stars for any kind of video content. They're always in, they'll do it. Yeah. And then you have the other 2/3 are like, if I have to. And then there's like the other 1/3 that's left over that's just like, no, I will not do that. Yeah. But I think slowly as you do more and people realize like, oh yeah, it's not that painful. And then they talk or they see their friends doing a fun video. It starts to chip away and erode that like anxiety with like jumping on a camera or just whipping out a camera and kind of doing some quick content. Cause now we have offices, that we work with. The pediatric office is a good example. They're always posting just the most fun, crazy, TikToks and any video.
And you always love a client like that because there's like no rules for them.
But it still took a while to warm them up to it. But then once they realize like, oh, like it's not painful. Like this is easy.
Yep.
And it's cool to see them grasp onto it like that. So it sounds like they are as well. But that's awesome. Now I want you have to make us a content room. But no, I mean, that's a good example of how a brand can, whether they hire you guys to do it or someone is watching and has the ability to do that on their own, like create a space for their team to go in. They don't have to go to you guys, or they don't have to go to their workplace's social media coordinator or manager to do something. If there's a place that's built for that, put it on Calendly or whatever and go in and shoot your stuff.
Right. We were actually providing not only value to the agents, we're providing value to the brokerage, because they're trying to attract good talent to their brokerage. And if you can say, hey, we have a content room where you can go in, that's like, whoa, you have and that?
Good agents
they didn't have that.
Are going to be wanting to
so it was great.
Make better content for themselves. Because I don't know a ton about the real estate world, but I do know they kind of work for the agency. They work for themselves. There's they represent themselves in a way, but
they're their own business,
right?
But they have to be represented.
So
by
good talent's going to want a way to represent themselves too. So if you have something like that, then
100%. The bigger and better your brokerage is, the more talent you're going to attract. So that's why having an extra selling point is
if important. If you can't technically recruit or look for this intentionally, but if your target is moving in, like people that are buying homes or properties is moving into a younger and more tech savvy generation, and you have agents now that are attracted to an agency that has the ability for them to do their own work like that, it's going to just mesh much better with their end customer too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
growing with the technology and the need for it. It's important.
So could you apply that for what you guys do? Like with your kind of client base?
Probably. So a lot of our clients are full service, like we do full service for them, where we come out, we shoot on site, we do everything there. We probably could. We haven't had a client that had the need for that yet. Like I think a large number of our clients are, I told you earlier, like you guys have picked the narrow vein and went deep on it.
Yeah.
We kind of went wide, but still kind of narrow. So a large number of our clients have a very small team, where they just need it done for them. And they just got to get it done. So we schedule time with them to come out, monthly or on some sort of a basis and just hammer out a couple hours worth of content, come back and, then we have a couple months worth to post for them.
Yeah. Get ahead of it.
I would love to do that.
Yeah.
It's a good idea though. I might have to.
I don't know if you got to crunch the numbers, how much time are you taking?
I think it would work well on, so our biggest client obviously is our parent company is Verber Dental Group. That would be a great idea for something like that, because it's just, you're dealing with a massive staff, huge staff, and each office has 3-4 dozen people working there. Some of the big offices have that. And if you had a corner that was set up for that in their break room or whatever, that would be an idea that we could deploy there. But some of the teams are just, 1 or 2 people. And I don't know if it might not work for their setup.
Yeah.
But
I think it works ideally for businesses that are like real estate. So it's like, the brokerage has to recruit the agents and give them as much value as possible. They're all subcontractors. So whatever other business is kind of structured that way.
And they're pushing themselves as much as they are as the business.
Right. Yeah. Right. So like that structure of business is really what lends itself to a content room.
I got a couple ideas now that you said that. So
see,
there
you go.
This is good.
I'm glad you sparked something.
The one thing that's cool is, and I was initially thinking like, oh, we're going to get another creative team on here. It's people would think that that's competition, but when you think about the amount of work that's out there that gets done,
so
much.
Much.
I was excited to have you guys on, because like we could talk about ideas all day and start spinning other ideas off of each other. And there's really no, harm in it, because the amount of work that's out there, is insane that needs to be done. It's just getting our customers aware of what needs to be done for their brands.
Right.
I liken it to, we had a salon owner on our show a couple months ago, and she was like, listen, like everyone needs their haircut. So like, I don't care if my employees leave and open up their own salons or do whatever, like they all need, there's always haircuts, so they're not going to hurt me. So it's cool to get creative teams together just to talk, because like, it's exciting.
I think you're stronger together. I think there's, like you said, there's plenty of business to go around. It never hurts to network. Like from the very beginning, I was always asking people out for coffee that did the same work, just trying to build a network of people that are like-minded, and just, it's helped my business grow. It's helped Nieri Creative grow.
Nice. So outside of the nonprofit work and outside of, delivering for clients, what's like the the drive that gets you up in the morning? I know we talked about that creativity, but like there's got to be that spark when you're working on something that you're like, man, that's my moment. I love that.
I think for me, it's setting things up for growth. So like technically Nate started this business 5 years ago, but like I treat it like it's my baby. So I get to come in every day, and like I really love looking at our business from like a 10,000 foot view. And like, you know, working with nonprofits is great. But like when I get to look at the way our business is structured and try to set it up to be more efficient, to make it scalable, all of those things really excite me. Like that's the wormhole that I could go down on YouTube, learning every in and out of how to automate things, how to make things run quicker and better. Like I really have fell in love with that kind of aspect of running the business.
And that could always be something that you'll hear about, and you have to pin that for a little bit until you can. But that probably drives you nuts too, because you're like, man, like we could do that. We're so close, but I gotta wait, because you know there's other things that obviously when you're at that level looking at a business, you kind of have to roadmap some things
For sure, yeah.
But I know, you know, I can get that way, and I know our CEO gets that way. But sometimes you gotta like, okay, let's make a goal of that, but like we can be excited, but we got to push that down a couple months.
Yeah, and then do one thing at a time. You can't implement. Well, you could, but like implementing 6 things at the same time is going to be way more difficult than
it's going to blow up.
one. Yeah, because you got to get everybody on the same page, everybody functioning efficiently with the new implementation, and we're in the process of doing that right now. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun for me to look at it that way.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'll be honest. Before Ben came on, I was overwhelmed. I was almost just completely burnt out because I was trying to do everything on my own.
Yeah, you were you're a one-man band.
Yeah. So I am just plain like excited that there's someone else on the team that enjoys it and is passionate as I am and wants to grow this thing. That's what gets me up in the morning, like honestly.
Nice. Yeah, because now you're not like looking down a tunnel by yourself, just, you know, what's next. You kind of have you have a partner in it that you can bounce ideas off of, or, you know, if there's bad times, you can walk each other through something. Not bad times, but something, there's a problem that comes up,
the burden,
have someone else to bounce things off of.
Share the burden of building a business. And I love seeing it grow. We had slow growth through those 5 years, but since Ben came on, we've had exponential growth. So it's been
and it kind of had you started it like right before some weird things happened. So that also was like probably a big stress.
We went through COVID.
Yeah.
I had a retainer client out in New York. He's a wholesaler in real estate, and he had me all through COVID and kept paying me. That was one of the things that got me through COVID. So
it's good to have clients like that too.
Yeah.
I think we all can look back and know that there's like always a couple clients that you had that are like, man, they believed in us.
I'm glad they were there.
They stuck through it, but now, you know, you have to have them. So
100%.
The other thing that was wild is just from the real estate industry, like you also went through, not just with COVID, but like a crazy real estate market to be kind of specialized in that in the beginning. That was like probably also just a very wild ride. And we've talked with some realtors about that, commercial and residential, but it's from the creative side when you're doing photography and you had your real estate license too. I'm sure you saw like a crazy swing with work on that.
Yeah, it's crazy. The market is really weird right now. And like no one is buying very much.
Right.
Because
they were buying like crazy.
They were, you could sell anything. You could sell a shack, like just
for 150,000.
Yeah. And I mean, you can, if the house is priced right, you know, under $300,000, $400,000 in the right area, it'll sell pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But there's so many houses that we're seeing go on the market that we shoot photos for, and they're sitting. They're just sitting because the interest rates are still high. Home prices are crazy high.
New homes are still, like they're building them like crazy, but there's a lot of neighborhoods that are just empty.
Yeah. No one is making a move. I mean, post-election, we're still pretty fresh off
I think everyone was kind of waiting to see what happened there.
We'll see.
They're waiting to see for the new year if Fed's going to cut any rates, but it's a weird time.
But it's weird. Like the real estate industry has gone down, but our business has still grown just because of our clientele. We try to go for teams.
Okay.
We're still in a growing phase. So it doesn't matter what's happening in the real estate industry necessarily. We can still grow because we have so much headroom still to go. So yeah, we haven't really been affected much.
That's good.
Yeah, and we do have like a peak season.
Okay.
So summertime, spring into summer is what they call spring market for real estate.
Post tax refunds. Everyone's kind of getting excited.
Yep. It's warm. Everybody is ready to move because the weather's nice. They don't want to pack up their belongings in the snow, you know? So like naturally wintertime is when real estate photography dips.
Yeah.
However, that provides opportunity to a business as well too, because we do a lot more than just real estate photography. So then we just start marketing like, hey, to the agents, you know, this might be a smart time to start thinking about all of your content for next year and
while
develop a strategy. Yeah, while you're slow, you know, come make videos. Yeah, you know, we're here for you.
Yeah, and then they head into their busy season, or if things do shake loose, eventually they will. But when things do bust out again, because markets will ebb and flow, they don't need to worry about that, because if you're building up your marketing content toolbox, when it gets busy, you don't have to be worried about, oh man, I don't have time to do that now. Yeah. Because I have this, you know, on the shelf content ready to go. Plus, you guys are probably smart too on this, so you can coach them on how to reuse some content or
repackaging.
Got to have that, because people forget what you posted a year ago. You can post it again.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make too when releasing content. They think that like, oh man, like hypothetically, you spent 4 hours making this video, right? And you're like, this is the greatest video ever. I'm gonna post it on social media. And that's it.
Once and done.
Yeah. And then I'm stepping away, and like if it doesn't go viral, I'm gonna sulk. Yeah, like you have that video forever now, and you can repackage it, cut it up, just repost it again. Like there's so much more use you can get out of it.
Like some of them, especially in industries that like, and I don't mean to keep picking on real estate, but I'm just thinking that way right now. Like if it's someone's recording tips on buying a home or what to do during a certain season or whatever, like if someone had already gone through that cycle and consumed a video on how to get ready, your finances ready to buy a house or whatever it is, from their realtor or realtor they're looking at, the next time that cycle comes around, like they're not buying a house every year. That realtor can post it again because there's a whole new current list of people that they're trying to work with.
Updated. Yeah. Updated for 2024.
It's not like people that are buying a house are stuck in that buying cycle for a decade. Like usually it's only once or twice in a lifetime. So if they're always churning through new people, they could shoot that out to their current list, who's going to change again in 6 months anyways. Like,
absolutely. I see people doing that on YouTube all the time. And I only noticed because I've seen the same video twice with a different thumbnail and a different title. So it'll be like
minimally changed.
Yeah, like how best tips on your Apple iPhone 2023. You watch that video, and then 2024 rolls around, you're getting a new phone. You search the same thing. The same video pops up, and it's a different thumbnail. Best tips for Apple iPhone 2024. Yeah. Like, that guy didn't film anything different.
It's kind of the joke of like the iPhone doesn't change that much year after year. So like a lot of that content, same with pretty much any industry, like whether it's we're doing dentistry or we're doing videos for our other clients, like really it doesn't change drastically from year to year. So repurpose that stuff. You spend a lot of time and money to get it, like you might as well get the most use out of it. It's not a one-shot deal.
Right.
Huh.
So I'm assuming a lot of people that listen or watch this podcast are business owners or business minded.
Yeah, it's targeted towards that.
Yeah. So do we want to talk maybe about like this? What systems are we using? What softwares kind of to run our business?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So we use ClickUp.
ClickUp is our project management software.
He's been doing a lot of work in it to put some systems and processes together.
We're trying to make ClickUp, which is just like Trello or Asana.
We use Asana.
Yeah. It's the same thing. We just chose ClickUp because it seemed like it had a little bit more of a robust back end. And
once you're in it, though, like Kara, who you met Kara, like she has threatened me. I won't say with violence, but she has threatened me to like not switch, because once you're so deeply embedded in a process, a system like that, like it's hell to
nightmare to switch.
Right. Yeah. I saw a statistic. It's like every agency switches their project management software like every 18 months. And I was just like, I can't imagine doing that, because everybody comes out with a new sexy feature and you're like, oh, we should use that, Nate.
I was getting ads just on my phone last night or the night before for what's it, Workflow? I see them all the time.
There's so many.
There's a billion. Monday. They're all on my feed now.
So what one do you guys use?
We use Asana.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's popular.
I've used Asana for years with the band.
Yeah.
And then with this business.
So you use
with ClickUp.
That's your task management tool. It's ClickUp.
Yep.
And what else do you guys have?
So for the real estate side, it's completely managed through Ario, is a real estate medium
specific
software.
to that?
Yeah, it's
industry?
very specific to that industry. So if you're out there and you're going to start a real estate media industry business, Ario is a great platform for that. What else do we use?
What about for like more business, like clerical stuff as far as?
So we use QuickBooks.
Okay.
I actually use the QuickBooks checking account as well. So everything is kind of just funneled through one checking account. We use Square.
We use Square
on the real estate side though. So all our payments for the real estate media are processed through Square. I move them over to QuickBooks. Mm-hmm. All the video production is processed through QuickBooks.
Nice.
So all the payments and stuff. We use Metrical for scheduling out social media posts and stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
What do you guys use? Hootsuite or?
You'd have to ask our social team.
Okay.
Yeah. They were doing it. I think they were scheduling directly for a little bit, but I know we have so much going on now. I'm sure they're using something else.
Okay. Cool.
I would love to use QuickBooks, but we switched over to because of our parent company, we switched over to this insane, Sage Intact? It's huge.
Okay.
They
take care of everything now?
Yeah.
It's huge. And I navigating through it is mind boggling.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
you almost need a college degree.
I need to go back to school and learn one software, but it's okay. I know exactly where I need to go for my reports and I just pull that and I don't look around because I get lost. How about any automation tools? Do you guys have any?
We're starting to. I didn't know we use Slack.
Okay.
But there's really not a whole lot of automations in there. We kind of have our business systems set up and our people trained so that for us it feels automated.
Right.
But they're physically doing the communication,
Gotcha.
and things like that. But I have been dabbling with Zapier.
I was gonna say I'm pretty heavy in Zapier.
Yeah, I just haven't.
Pick your brain.
Yeah, we should because I haven't found quite a perfect integration yet that works for everything. So right now in ClickUp, that's our single source of truth.
Okay.
That's where everything needs to be
Everything
updated.
goes back to that.
Yeah, and it has automations built in, and I have some of those running. But it still takes an admin to manage.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of like the whole AI automation argument, it's going to affect everyone's job. Well, you still have to have people that know how to use these or prompt these tools.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just creating different jobs. That's all it is.
Yeah, AI becoming a part of businesses now is the same exact feeling of when the power drill was invented.
Yeah.
You still need the carpenter.
Right.
But he's just not going this.
The phone book went away. It's the same. I use the adage of okay, well, the phone book was dying 15, 20 years ago. And I remember those reps were all worried that I'm not gonna be able to sell
Yellow
my phone
pages.
book. Yeah. I don't need to talk about the spending I used to see on when we were marketing and putting ads in the phone book was mind blowing. But anyways, that was the same deal. That went away. Print kind of started to. Print's still around I think in better form now because it's nicer print. But that's a whole nother podcast topic. But the internet came in, it just created different jobs. It's just, you just have admin work for different things now.
Yeah.
So
you need somebody to move cards around.
You have to pick my brain on Zapier though. So I use Zapier or Zapier, however you pronounce it. That's the other problem is these apps. I don't ever know how to pronounce half of them. But
Ario.
That's a whole different thing. So I'm pretty heavy on myself on the web development side. So I'll code, we're building a custom learning platform right now for one of our clients, very complex, but I'm using Zapier to integrate some webhooks in it just to kick off different processes. And
that's cool. Yeah.
I love that. That's what gets me excited. They'll hear me wooing and celebrating in my office is when I test something
and it works.
Finally worked.
Oh man.
I just banged my head off a desk for 6 hours, but it worked finally. And
yes.
Gotta hope it works all the time though.
Yeah. It works enough.
Okay.
Well, that's why I use Zapier because then they just have they take care of my webhooks and it's way easier. But then I'll be celebrating down the hall. That's the thing that gets me sparked up.
Yeah, yeah, and that does it for me too.
Yeah.
Because you're man, I've worked on this, I've built it, and it's working. And knowing that I've spent this front-loaded amount of time on this project or this task, now that that's working, I don't have to worry about that anymore. Like that's no longer a daily task of mine. You're like, I've automated it.
Then there's 10 more tasks that come in.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, what else can I automate? Like, this is amazing.
Yeah. It's that's pretty fun. I like that. But yeah, I mean, if you guys ever have automation questions, I use that, and I've used, what's that? We've used if this and that in the past too. That's how we that's how we technically named our company.
Oh, really?
It's I have 2 minutes. I'll tell the story in 2 minutes. So Lead Lamp Media, when it was just Joe and I think it was still just Joe and I. Was Kara here yet? I don't think she was. I had some interns post-COVID. We lost a couple employees because they, want to be home with their kids, whatever. And now it was just like me. It was just me and Joe. Joe was an intern. But I wanted a way to show when we were just doing work for the dental company, but I wanted a way to show when we received a new patient. So I hooked a web hookup for any kind of new lead off of any digital marketing that we did. And when it was submitted, it would just click this webhook off. There was no information shared on it. It was just _new lead. Would send it over to if this then that tool, which would fire off a little smart plug and it would flash a light on and off at our desks.
Nice.
That's cool.
And like 5 years ago, we just named it it's the lead lamp because we got a new lead.
Dude,
and
I would absolutely do that with like the "Oh yeah" from the Kool-Aid commercials.
Oh, that'd be fun. We joked about putting like a sound with it, but that would get annoying. So, they would not like
John's voice. Oh.
But yeah, so like automating stuff like that, or just finding ways to. That was kind of almost like the Pavlov's dog thing, like there's a trigger and you're visually or you're physically seeing the result of it. That was just a cool way, rather than running a report later in the moment, we could see when we were getting new leads.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like
makes you feel good too. Every time that lamp went off, you guys were like,
we're doing our job. What we're doing is working. So I mean, there were times too where you're like, I don't think I've seen that lamp light in like a day. I'm not sure.
Like, what are we doing wrong?
You gotta check it. Yeah, I know, but it works. So that was like that kind of automation is fun too, because it's like in the moment and people can feel it and see it on the spot.
Instant gratification. That's the world we live in.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But, I thank you guys for coming on. I think we could talk about like 20 other topics now. But
yeah,
I'm going to call you about
just talk about business.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
Definitely do it. But I mean, I'd love to have you guys on again. We can even just pick like a smaller subset and just dive into that for like half an hour. That'd be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So cool. All right. Well, thanks. If you guys are interested in checking out any of their socials or their website, we'll put the links in the show description so they can hook up with you guys and chat if they have any questions. Cool. But awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Thanks for having me.
Good one.